Franz Jägerstätter was born on May 20th, 1907, in a small town in Austria. His mother married Heinrich Jägerstätter, who adopted young Franz after his birth father died serving in World War I. This was the first time Franz witnessed the tragedies of war and shaped his thoughts on war later in life. Franz was rowdy in his youth, so much so that he was forced to leave his community. His antics continued until he met his soon-to-be wife, Franziska Schwanina. Jägerstätter benefited greatly from the marriage, as he became a benevolent member of society and began to study the Bible. His devotion to God was so powerful, he became the sexton of his small village. Additionally, he and Reverend Joseph Karlbath were good friends for many years. During their long-standing relationship, Nazi Germany took over Austria and began drafting Austrian men to protect Poland. Jägerstätter was surrounded by people who wanted to fight, but his conscience and faith objected to the idea of fighting for fascism. His lack of fighting led to him being imprisoned and tried on account of sedition. He was given the death penalty, and on August 9th, 1943, Franz was executed by the guillotine. His last words were, "I am completely bound in the inner union with the Lord." He stood with the people that were persecuted by the Nazi regime. This was the primary reason as to why he did not join the ranks of the army, as it would perpetuate the pain that the imprisoned groups would face. He was also an advocate for just wars, and this was not a war he wanted to fight in. He continuously tried to remove himself from the death penalty by joining the medical corps so he would not fight directly, but he was denied at every attempt. The actions of Jägerstätter were influenced by God's love. This love that he experienced from God led him to realize the horrors of both the Nazi regime and the wars. Jägerstätter wanted to live in a peaceful world, without struggles of oppressed groups, and his belief in God guided him on the path to achieving this world. Even when his family tried to convince him that God would forgive Jägerstätter of his sins due to the circumstances, his faith did not waver at all. This shows how the faith within Jägerstätter not only guided his morals, but in every interaction he had with his friends and family. God played a very big role in the life of Jägerstätter, even if that life was cut short. Jägerstätter lived the Paschal mystery by encompassing all of the main aspects of it. Incarnation is the first step that he embodies, as he gets imprisoned with many of the people that he stood up for. Occasionally, he would run into other people with the same beliefs as him, because he was not alone in the resistance. His crucifixion came during his resistance, as he was unjustly thrown into prison and executed without proper trials. He stood up for what was just, and his life was taken because of it. In a similar vein to Jesus, he died to show the world how cruel the sin everywhere is. In this case, it was the war and Nazi ideals. Finally, he encompasses resurrection by becoming a model for the people in Austria. Their understanding of Jägerstätter and his actions inspired them for decades to come. Additionally, after his beatification, he became even more inspirational while his story was being told internationally. The first step that Jägerstätter laid out for us is to speak out. The more people speak out against unjust behaviors, the easier it will be to influence change, as Jägerstätter did. Showing a sense of understanding for the people that need it the most is crucial to both living in the Paschal mystery and the life that Jägerstätter lived. Even if we restrict ourselves in physical ways, the spiritual bond between the oppressed and those that want to witness a change is a greater force. Thus, the life of Franz Jägerstätter, a man who died for the people on the margins of society during World War II, is one of the greatest demonstrations of how to live the Paschal mystery.